What's good, Black Conscious and Freaky family? We have an interesting topic to discuss tonight. As requested, we're going to be diving into the topic of sex on the first date. Is it wrong to have sex on the first date? Is it dangerous? What are the pros and cons of having sex on the first date? We're going to get all into that tonight. But before we begin, I need to introduce my two co hosts. I'm being joined by Nick and Monique, who are two members of Black Conscious and Freaky. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Monique.
I am Monique. I am a new member to the group. I've been with the group for about a month now. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. And yeah.
Go ahead, Nick. You got to introduce yourself and go ahead and spit us that poem we talked about.
Hi, my name's Nick. Starting my own company, Pippin Pens Literary Publishing and Writing Firm. Anything you do dealing with writing, just holler at me. I edit, write, co-write. I understand the business of it all as I'm going along, and I'm from Miami, Florida, home of the Freak Nasty. So it's only right that I'm part of the group. I came in as like the 40s, literally like the 47th member of the group. Somebody tagged me or whatever, and I just jumped on. And the poem that I'm going to recite is from a self-published book I put together called Dragonflies at War, Volume 2. I already have a Volume 1 of something else that I'm going to reintroduce to the world. And the poem that I'm going to read from that is called My Wife Be Like. So hopefully this sets the tone going in. Here it goes. I want a good woman who makes my pull-out game weak as fuck. How she shaped her skin tone and how she's sexy without flashing skin or being overly sexual like a slut. Dark skin or bronze, reddish brown or on down to caramels. I peeped a few red bones, but to put me under your spell is your spiritual intel. Christian women have told me I'm going to hell for saying, when I think of my wife, I can feel the sperm develop in my balls. Can she educate me on the ISIS papers? Can she tell me more about metaphysics than her favorite celebs or haters? Has she seen the flick They Live or read The Art of War? If I tell her about the Dogon, would she consider me a bore? Can she put up with my belching and when I snore? Can she do chores, mop floors, then later on that night take a bath and exfoliate her pores? She has the option to come with me to shoot pool, hit the gun range, and go to Comic-Con for the week after. And I'll go to the plays and movies based on her favorite books so she can see live their paragraphs within chapters. I can cook, so she better know how to boil water. Bang around some pots and pans before I smell dinner being cooked. Take a class or watch YouTube in case you need to try harder. I'll take a loyal 7.8 over a freaky ass 8.9 or dime who can't respect that I use my mind to help fix your retinas for their third eyes are blind, illuminating the truth in between your temples. And can she just vibe with me from time to time to jazz instrumentals? Include some Tupac, Scarface, soul music, and Babyface, KRS-One's. Surprise me with Master P or Master Ace. She's cooperative, has her own mind, and is supportive because I treat her like a queen should be. She will be there to show our daughter how great of a woman she could be. My sons will learn how to treat a lady who is worthy of our family's last name. Our children will be like seeds when courting, taking their time growing something and not playing games. I don't need a bad bitch because bad bitches aren't dedicated. The truth, they tend to hate it. Many get degraded, keep a bad attitude, plus their egos are inflated. Puffed up by trick-ass Negroes and thirsty suckers saying stuff like, bruh, I'll suck a fart out of that ass, dog, know what I'm saying? No, I don't, you shitty mouth motherfucker. I want a woman who wonders what wondrous things burned down in those libraries in Alexandria when Alexander the Great's generals hated. Can she tell me of Shango, Ogun, Tahuti? Notice I didn't mention yet anything about her breasts, hips, thighs, or booty. If her brain, spirit, how she smells, and personality is nice, then she doesn't need to have the world's biggest booty or hulking set of boobies. Only certain body types that remind me of Mother Africa whispered, "Pursue me," can come to me. I want to end this with a quick anecdote of a woman with size 38 triple D breasts, a small waist, and the fattest, roundest ass I've ever hit from the back on more than 3 occasions, if you know what I mean. I won't say names, but know that she was about 5'7", 198 pounds, shaped like a chunky version of Serena Williams, but with lighter skin and more booty. That's right, ass so fat you could see it from the front. Yeah, you know, I had to hit that, right? On our first morning hookup, on her day off, I was doing my thing, handling mine. I got her from the front after she started on top, just after I got her from behind. When I positioned myself for doggy and entered, I started off slow. She was enjoying it, and I loved her moans and view from her backfield in motion. I sped up some and started feeling myself when she buried her face into the pillow during climax. I got brave and said to myself, "Fuck it, I'm going in." I gripped her hips, eased her waist forward, and moved my pelvis back. I gave a mighty thrust to show her what time it was. The only thing I forgot was Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, meaning the force of my thrust pushed her body forward, and when her booty returned to make contact with my groin, she damn near knocked me out the pussy and off the bed. I had to grab her hips just to keep from falling off. I gave her more hard thrust because I could tell she liked it, but for the rest of my time back there, I knew not to be bullshit. So yeah, there is a thing as having too much booty. So Empress, where you at? Queen, please stop hiding from your boy. I just want a proportionate mind, spirit, body, and soul. Yeah, that's how my wife be like.
Was good.
Okay, now.
It was good.
That's what's up.
So Monique, you want to go ahead and start us off? What are your thoughts on sex on a first date? Do you think it's wrong? Do you think it can be possibly dangerous? Do you think that a woman who sleeps on a first date, it somehow makes her a slut or a hoe or something like that, or a thought, as they say nowadays?
No, I think it's all in the way that you carry yourself, present yourself as a woman, your character, your attitude. I think it's all in presentation. And I think that would determine how you're carried after the fact if you decide to do that on the first date. They say that men can usually tell what type of female you are by the first impression, like how you present yourself to them, how you dress, how you talk, your attitude. So I think it has a lot to do with it. I can say that in the past, there's been times where I've been tempted to want to have sex with someone. I'm gonna say within the first few days of me meeting them, but I will always hesitate in doing it because on the inside I was thinking like, okay, well, what would be their opinion of me if I were to do that after the fact? So, I don't know. I think that holds us back a lot. That limits our sexuality and the things that we would really want to do. What we value others' opinions about us. I will say that.
I agree. I fully agree with you, and I think that society has this double standard where it's though it's like a man can sleep with 1,000 women, and he's considered like a player, a pimp. Whereas though a woman can sleep, with like 2, 3 men, and she pretty much a hoe. I mean, society double standards really dictate what we do and who we sleep with, and a lot of different things in our life. And I don't necessarily think that I don't think there's anything wrong with sleeping on the first date. I don't think there's anything wrong with sex on the first date at all, long as it's consensual. Both of you guys are adults. Both of you using protection. I don't see anything wrong with it. Well, Nick, what are your thoughts?
All right, in terms of sex on the first date, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into that. Because, one of the things is, if you're just trying to have your fun or whatever, just trying to get your rocks off or whatever the case may be, hit it and quit it. Both parties understand this. All right, cool. Do what you do. Or make it a long-term booty call sort of thing. Okay, do what you do. But in terms of you're trying to make it a relationship out of that, it's a big what if behind that or whatever. You know what I mean? Like some people, very small handful of people have actually made that connection, but that's only if both their spirits are joined and they have the same thing in common and their energy flows the same, and it just happens to work that way. All right, cool. But for the most part, with most men, the minute we smash that quick or whatever, the thrill is gone. Straight up. It's just physical attraction and we gone. Now, in terms of the double standard or whatever, I believe I brought this up once. There's a reason why it's there. See, it's biology that dictates all of this. You know what I mean? See, women, they're in charge of having the kids, right? You know what I mean? They can push the babies. Like, we put it in there. We help, yeah, of course, we help to impregnate the woman, yeah, of course. But in terms of like once the kid is born, if she's sleeping with multiple dudes, who's the father? See what I'm saying? That kind of looks bad on her part. And then secondly, with the vagina, it's easier for STDs to lurk in a vagina than the penis. Trust me, any man that actually has chlamydia or gonorrhea or whatever, he can't just play that off. As with the vagina, it can sit around and a woman won't even notice. See what I'm saying?
Good
so
point.
Yeah, biology dictates that. Look, this whole double standard thing is not because we can do whatever we want and I can do the same thing man can. It's just, dude, biologically.
Yeah, and also I
man.
think it has a lot to do with the whole woman is supposed to be virtuous thing, and that a man is supposed to give chase and effort into obtaining, sex from a female or whatever. And if you just give it to him just like that, then it was just easy to come by. Like, he didn't have to work for it. That's what most men think.
Yeah, how many other brothers done hit it that fast? Yeah, I mean, it's not really a prize to be cherished. And on the men's part, we shouldn't be running around here all crazy anyway like that. You know what I mean? I mean, I say it's cool to go out for a little bit. Like if a woman has if she's 25 and had 10, 15 partners, I kind of give it a pass or whatever. She's experimenting, she doing her thing, the guy, he doing his thing. You know what I mean? But if the guy has 150 partners and the woman has 70, 80 partners or whatever, you're doing a little too much. No, and there are people out there that's like that. I remember one woman I came across, I told her my number at the time or whatever, and I think I was at around I ain't gonna lie, being down here in Miami, boys, it's Freak Fest 3000. It's not that hard to come across. I'm being dead ass serious. It's not that hard to run into a woman and then have sexual relations with her down here. It's not that hard. And I told her my number at the time. I think it was in the 20s or whatever. And the woman was like, "That's it?" And she was like, "What? That's it? I put in work for that 20-something." What you mean that's it? He was like, I thought you would say 50, 60. I was like, 50? What the? I got bills to pay. What you mean 50, 60? You know what I'm saying?
It's
But
crazy.
question, why is that so important, though?
I agree. Why is it important? That's a good question. Why is it important? I think one of the biggest questions behind this is two things. How well do you have to know a person before you sleep with them? That's the first question. The second question is, it almost seems like nowadays it's a competition. Like, people gauge you by how many people you've slept with. Like, I've slept with, like, let's say I slept with 50 people. Does that gauge how experienced I am with sex? Does that gauge how good I am? What do you guys think?
Yeah,
What do you
some
think?
people will view it like that.
What do you think?
Some people will view it like that. Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm gonna say they gauge. I'm gonna say how easy you are or how free you are with your body with people. Like, okay, well, and she slept with them many niggas, or damn, she get a pussy that easy. You know, like, like, do I really want to be bothered with her, like, on a serious tip if she just slept with those many people? You know, like,
You know what I find?
yeah.
What I find funny nowadays? You know, I've been with women and we haven't known each other that long, and one of the things I say is, you know, I'm going to go get a condom. We should use protection. And so I've had women actually get offended by me saying I want to get protection. They'll say something like, "Oh, what you think, I'm dirty?" I think that's one of the most dangerous things nowadays is that a lot of people are not only having sex on the first date. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The dangerous part comes in where you're not using protection, you know, especially in different areas of the country like Atlanta, where the HIV/AIDS epidemic is really high. And I've never even understood that argument. Like, you think that I think that you're dirty because I'm asking you to use protection. From a woman's perspective, Monique, what do you think about that?
If anything, you're doing me a favor. You're doing both of us a huge favor. I mean, like, you don't even have to tell me that you want to use a condom. Like, you have to use a condom. Like, you know, I don't want any kids. I don't want any diseases that you may have that you may not even know about. You know, because people pass diseases and it may not even be intentional. They may not even know that they have it. So, you know, I think that the condoms is not just looking out for yourself, but also looking out for the other person. So, you know, hey.
What are your thoughts, Nick?
Now, in terms of that, the use of condoms or whatever, from what I've experienced, from what I've seen, I've never really come across that or heard any of my homeboys get that sort of response from a woman. You know what I mean? It's almost expected when it's somebody new that you're going to have sex with to have a condom on deck. Now, the thing that kills me is that with some of them, like, they'll get, I guess, close to the woman, and like a month later they having sex raw. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, okay, y'all didn't get checked out first and all that, then went raw. Is like condom for a short bit, then raw. No checkup, no nothing before going raw.
A lot of people see that as corny. Like, I actually ask a woman, like, can we take a test together? Like, can we go to the clinic and take a test together? You know, make sure both of us are clean. I just said that just to see what she would say, and she got offended. I've actually had women that say, I ain't no dirty bitch like that. Like, why would you even ask me something like that? I'm like, don't you want to make sure that I'm clean? Don't you want to make sure that I'm good? And it's funny that you mentioned that, Monique, about a lot of people not even knowing that they have HIV, because I'm looking at this little article on my phone, and it says, according to the CDC, 1 in 8 Americans with HIV don't know they have that virus. And so if you're going around sleeping with a bunch of people on a first date, or not even dating, just sleeping with people, again, it's nothing wrong with that if you're clean about it, you are being open about it with your partners and stuff like that. But if you're not using protection, and not only that, but you don't know you have HIV or AIDS, I mean, that's how shit spreads. That's one of the main reasons why the HIV/AIDS epidemic in Atlanta is probably so high. But I think people nowadays just really don't, from my perspective anyway, don't really respect using condoms or kind of get offended when you use condoms. And I feel like as soon as I hear something like that, I'm gonna tell the chick right away, like, I don't want to deal with you. I'm just gonna stop dealing with her right away because she probably got something or she gonna get something eventually, and I don't want to deal with shit like that. You know.
Smart man. But one thing that some women have to realize is that, well, some men too, that are emotional, they get attached, or maybe they have some level of insecurity to where they just latch on to become needy or whatever the case may be. But understand that having intercourse, it will not spring emotions that you want from a person right away like that. You know what I mean? Because from a guy's standpoint, straight up, most guys, like the minute we get it or whatever, and quicker than we expected, the feelings that we had for you, the mystery of it all, that goes out the window 30 seconds after we bust a nut. Damn it, that literally after we bust, it's like, okay, where's my pants? I gotta go to work in the morning. I might catch you another time, and then text her like maybe 2 days later or something.
Right.
And you know what? That is really believable, because I can say that occurs with women also. I mean, like, for example, and this is a true story. My son, I have a 13-year-old and I have a 9-year-old. And my 13-year-old, let me see, how old was he at the time? Probably about 7 or 8 something, somewhere around there. And for a long time I had been taking him to the barbershop myself, because at the time I was a single mother. And then I had another child, my youngest son. So then I started taking him also. So the barber, I used to always admire him, like look at him like, oh, he's so fine, whatever. But I didn't think he looked at me like that. So one day we start talking and we exchanged numbers. And the lust and all of that, mystery and all of that went out the window for me after we finally had sex. It was like, wow. There was no mystery, no fantasy there anymore. Like, I had been lusting over him probably for about 3 years, and then when we finally did something, it was just like, oh, okay, well, it was fun, but was it even really worth me doing it?
Damn, he was that bad?
No, actually, it was good, but I'm just like, okay, well, there's excitement and that, I wonder what it's like. I wonder, like that, all that thrill was gone.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
The act, what went down didn't match your level of expectations.
Well, I wouldn't say that it did, but like you said, once you actually get it, the chase or the thrill, wanting it or whatever, once you actually got it, that excitement was just gone.
Wow. Okay.
It was gone. And it didn't become a relationship or an emotional relationship or anything like that. But I'm like, okay, well, I don't even feel comfortable coming here anymore. So I actually stopped taking my son there to get their hair cut.
Really?
Damn.
Yeah, really.
I think that every person, man or woman, and this is just my opinion, but everybody needs like a player phase in their life, like where they just fuck. It's just I've never fucked before. I want to get this out of my system, especially men. I mean, like I know from my perspective as a man, I know that when you're young, all you think about is sex, and as you get older, that kind of slows down a little bit. But I think every person should just have like a good 3 or 4 years where they just fucking get out that system, really experience a lot of different things to see what they like. As long as you're using protection you're communicating with your partners about what you want and what your end goal or end game is with the relationships. I don't see anything wrong with it. But every person needs to get that out their system. And I think a lot of people are so afraid to have sex on the first date. I mean, not even looking at it from a religious perspective. Like some religious people wait until they actually married and then they have sex, and then they find out that the sex is bullshit, and then they wind up getting divorced. So that's the way that player phase should have came in. But what do you think about the player phase, Nick? You think that's something that everybody should do, at least, get knocked that out while they're young?
Player phase is, from what I understand, if you don't do it, eventually most people, they later on in like their 30s and 40s or whatever, finally get it out their system or whatever. So, yeah, and a lot of people, they get that quote unquote player phase or slut phase out of their system while they're in college. Like they be goody all through middle school, high school, and the minute they hit college, it's Freak Fest 8000 or whatever, you know what I mean? And I've witnessed part of it. Like when I was finishing going to school part-time, getting my degree, it'd be different women who you could kind of tell they were nerdy, stepping up to a brother, getting their flirt on, you know what I mean, trying to flirt or trying to catch my attention or whatever, so yeah, a lot of people, they get that part of their life done in college, that 3 to 4 years, 5 year, however long college is supposed to take, get it out of their system during that time. So yeah, in a way, it is kind of good. Now, there's a handful of people that, as soon as they find that one person, they make it work for the rest of their life, and that's all they need. Okay, that's fine. But for most people, it's best to get out their way, or you'll mess around and start acting out on it later on in life, in the form of like a midlife crisis or something, you know what I mean?
What are your thoughts?
Completely understand that. Yeah, once you actually get settled into a stage and point in your life where so you should be just focusing on that serious relationship and being with that one person, then your mind starts wandering and wanting to try new things and be with different people and things like that, where so that was something you should have done in your earlier years, to kind of, like you said, get it out your system or whatever. But I think it hits people at different stages in their life. I don't think that always occurs when people think it should. For some people, it occurs at different and later stages in life.
Back to what you were talking about earlier, Monique, when you said you had relations with the guy and after that it just completely died out. Sometimes I think that waiting for sex is beneficial because it adds that level of anticipation, and then once you finally have sex, it's just like, wow, that was amazing. But sometimes that that the complete opposite happens, and you wait and you find out that the sex was just complete bullshit. But continuing onward, now in terms of like online dating, and also in terms of like getting to know a person, like you can talk to a person online, you can get to know a person online and talk to the person online and through webcam for months at a time, and then the first time you meet that person is you actually have sex. And that will be actually considered sex on the first date. So how well do you have to know a person, or do you have to know a person, well at all? I mean, I know it's like situations where it's a one night stand, you met in a club, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. But I think online dating changes the game nowadays because you can actually get to know a person without ever seeing them. And then that first time you meet them, you just fuck. Because I've been in situations like that where I talked to a person online, met them, we kicked it off, we had sex, and then we dated for like 2 years, But I'm sure there's people out there who date online, have sex that first date, and it just never works out. That's the last time they hear from each other. And I think that's one of the biggest fears from a woman's perspective, is that she'll date this guy, she'll talk to this guy, or she might have sex on the first date with this guy, and then she'll never hear from him again. And it's like, she put herself out there, and now she had this emotional connection with this guy, and it's just over. And now she's worried about, am I like a slut? Does it make me less of a woman because I did this, and obviously her feelings are hurt in the process and things like that. What are your thoughts?
My thing is, how could you get an emotional connection with someone that's there? That's what I'm saying.
You'll be surprised, man. You'll be surprised.
Look at catfish. Look at catfish. Let's show catfish.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Love at first sight, right?
Oh man, I don't know about all that. And I've never did the online dating thing before, so I wouldn't know how to answer that one. But yeah, I would think that it is similar. But actually dating someone, getting to know someone in person, I think that would be a little more better than the online thing, because you actually get to interact with them, on a more personal, in each other's space, type thing. Instead of me looking through a webcam and you looking through a webcam and, I don't know. Like, I actually get to see how you interact with other people and, different situations and people and places and,
Mm-hmm.
to each their own. But, yeah, the online thing, that's not something I can speak on.
Yeah, see, with the online thing, I kind of understand why people jump into that, because I guess you're seeing how they think, so you get a feel for their personality, so you fall for the personality first, as opposed to their looks, how they sound, and other things that you see that you'll come across when you first meet them face to face. You know what I mean?
Right.
So with online, you fall for the personality, how they think, because you see their words, their reactions, pictures that they post where you like, okay, this is just part of their personality and what makes them them. So people fall for the personality first when online, as opposed to falling for the physical when you're face to face. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think as technology evolves, I think online dating is going to really take over as technology continues to grow. Most people are glued to their smartphones, stuck on Facebook, stuck on all these different social media sites. And I think it's creating a society where people are more introverted. This is just my opinion. And I think online dating will actually take over and could even be the prevalent form of dating sometime in the future.
Yeah, it's already happening with all these dating apps or whatever. I was looking at, Vice. They have their own Vice News. They have their own network now. And they did a special on the different dating apps or whatever, like this dating app, the LGBTQ community, they're known for going there. This specific app, these group of people go there, and they really got in depth on that. So, yeah, the online dating and these apps, I mean, in the next 5 to 10 years or whatever, there's going to be a lot of marriages, a lot of drama, a lot of craziness that we would face while we were face to face. It's going to carry over online, period. You know what I mean? You're going to have cyber stalking and all that, cyber restraining orders. Man, dude, it's going to get crazy in the long run, Ross, man.
Now, any final points you guys want to make? I guess I'll state my final point right now. My final point is that I don't see anything wrong with sex on the first date. I think it should all be about what you want to do, enjoying yourself, as long as you're using protection, as long as you're open and communicating with your partner about what you want. I think society dictates a lot about how we should feel about sex and how we should approach sex. But obviously, if you're two consenting adults and you both want to have sex, no one's going to stop you. I just think you need to know the different pros and cons behind it. There are pros and cons. The pro is obviously sex feels good as shit. I mean, that's one of the biggest pros. And you experience that person on a sexual level. That's one of the biggest pros. The biggest cons is, well, you got to look at it like this. Does sex on the first date conflict with your religious beliefs? How is it going to make you feel after the sex is over? Do you want to establish a relationship? How are you going to feel if this person doesn't want to establish a relationship? It's a lot of emotional and mental and sometimes even physical. If you look at STDs, it's a lot of different ramifications in the field of cons. So it's all about what you want, but in general, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Use a condom. If it doesn't work out, hey, move on to the next one. But as long as you use protection and you understand that you are putting yourself out there and you're making yourself vulnerable in a sense, as long as you understand all those different things, I don't see anything wrong with it at all. What are your thoughts, Monique? Your final thoughts?
I'm gonna say have fun, enjoy yourself. Don't put any expectations on it. You know, and I would say if you're an adult and you've been through different situations before, then you would know that, you know, there could be various outcomes from that. So,
right.
Yeah, just have fun.
Nick, you still there?
Yeah, the way I see it, just be honest on the way in. That's all. Just be honest with yourself. Like, how you feeling ahead of time about that person. You know what I mean? If it's going to be just y'all get into it, have a good time or whatever, and just leave it at that, then let that be expressed or whatever. You know what I mean? Let it be known well ahead of time that there's no hidden agendas or anything like that. Because there's nothing worse than you have your fun and then the next day the person blowing you up like, what's up? Why I ain't hear from you, this, that, and the third. And like, wait, hold up, I could have sworn I told you I got things to do and this ain't nothing serious. You know, so just be upfront about what it is you're getting into. And when you get into it, if you are catching feelings, let the person know and just leave it up to them. And if they don't want to run with it, then respect their decision. Because remember, they did let you know up front, they ain't about that. They're not with that. At least not with you.
I agree. Communication is king, and communication should definitely be out there. And a lot of people don't really communicate well today. I think a lot of people just don't. I mean, as we progress in society, and as, like I said, technology grows and things like that, I foresee sex on the first date and things like that really happening a lot more often. And I think it's going to become more normal as time goes on. But that's all we pretty much got for tonight. Thanks for joining me, Nick and Monique. I think this was an excellent discussion, and I hope we can have a lot more. If you don't know about the group Black, Conscious, and Freaky, it's a group on Facebook that we have. We're like almost 2,000 members strong. So if you're listening to this podcast and you aren't a member of Black, Conscious, and Freaky, you're fucking up. Go ahead and join it. It's facebook.com/groups/Black, Conscious, Freaky. Go ahead and join us. We're growing.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Arturo, man. This is pretty dope. Before I get up out of here, you could check me out on Twitter at PipInPens, P-I-P, as in Gladys Knight in the Pips, and as in Nancy, Pens, P-E-N-S, PipInPens at Twitter. If you have any questions or any information about any books that you need editing, anything that you in the literary world field, the writing, the co-writing, the editing, the proofreading, book covers, all that, just you can catch me up at pipandpens.com. That's my website. And you can also add me as a friend on, just type in Pip and Pens, and I'm pretty sure you'll come across me, all right? Oh, and also my IG, Instagram, PipandPens_CEO. And I have another one, Pip and Pen's Amazing Wealth, and all I do is post positive messages and stuff like that. I don't.
Cool. And you can reach me at arturoholmes@mail.com, and you can also reach me on Facebook, Arturo Holmes. I'm the creator of Black, Conscious, and Freaky. And again, go ahead and join that group if you don't know about it on Facebook. It's a great group.